Hello, viewers. Welcome to Hidik TV's election series, where every voice matters and every story inspires. In our segment for today, we have as our guest Bob Johnson, who is a candidate for the Stearns County Commissioner. And today, we would like to give the viewers a full 360 degree of what his vision is for the county and how his policies are going to improve the lives of the folks who live in Stearns County. Dear viewers, I would like to make a disclaimer that we have reached out to your opponent, Coach Amin, and invited him to be part of this debate. He declined to come and share his platform. Our TV is always open to any candidate who would like to share their policies, their platform, and talk to the voters straight. So we just want to make that disclaimer that we are not locking anybody out of this platform. So Bob, welcome to Hidik TV. We are excited to hear and let the viewers know about you. So welcome and tell us who Bob Johnson is.
Thank you. I really appreciate you giving me the time. I'm honored. I moved to Minnesota about 30 years ago. And I came from Ann Arbor, Michigan with my wife and 4 children. I was administrative director at the Michigan Heart Institute at the time and came here to start what is now the CentraCare Heart and Vascular Center. So I was the executive director there for 23 years. During that time, I served on the St. Cloud City Council for 3 terms. And at the beginning of 2015, I became the executive director of the Paramount Center for the Arts downtown. So that's a little bit about my work involvement. My wife was a teacher at North Junior High. She's retired now. We have 4 children and we have 12 grandchildren, ages 2 to 31. So we have grandchildren. One is an architect, one's an industrial systems engineer, one's in medical school, and then we have a few littler ones at the same time. I'm a member of the Cathedral of St. Mary Church downtown. I'm a trustee there. I'm just excited about the idea of continuing to serve, which is what I've done pretty much my whole life. Multiple committees and commissions, trying to do some good work for the city of St. Cloud and Stearns County in general.
Thank you, Bob. I think that is a great start of your life and a lot of achievement over there. So Stearns County right now, that's a 5-member chamber.
Yes.
And every member's policies aligns and impacts folks who live in Stearns County.
Yes.
So what's your vision as a member of that chamber? Why are you running? What's your priority? What do you want to change?
Sure. Well, let me first tell you why I'm running. I love the idea of service. I think living in community is all about service, and individually, I have felt like this is really part of my purpose. As I've already described my occupations, I wasn't taking care of patients, but I was helping people who were serving patients. I wasn't on the stage at the Paramount, but I was helping artists perform and present their good work for the public. On the city council, I wasn't out riding around with the police or doing the work, but I was trying to establish policies that impacted positively all of the people. And so that's why I'm running. There's a lot of work to be done. I have the energy, the interest, the compassion, I think, that's necessary to do public service, actually. And I just decided I wanted to run for this position as county commissioner.
Stearns County is the 14th largest county in Minnesota. And over the past few years, there was a huge demographic shift with a lot of immigrants come to the county. As a commissioner, how would you ensure the Stearns County workforce is able to mirror the Stearns County residents?
Well, let me say first that the 5 commissioners establish policy. It is the directors, the administrator and the directors of the county of all the multiple programs who really get the work done. And they're the people who hire folks and determine what jobs need to be done. But at the policy level, we have to think about the whole county and every individual constituency. So if we're going to establish a policy relative to access for Medicaid funds, for example, it has to be a policy and implemented in such a way that all people have that service available. And you have to think about that with just about everything that the county does. Farmers have different needs than those of us who live in town. We all need our roads and bridges, but we're building roads and bridges, or we're managing land for everybody so that all are served. And it's difficult to specifically say how I'm going to do any one thing, but I can tell you that if elected for District 4, I will be looking out for Districts 1, 2, 3, and 5 as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But my question still is, like, we have a lot of black people who are immigrant to the country as a whole. Yep. But then Stearns County has hosted so many of them, right? So our workforce from all the different sectors of the county currently does not, as it is, mirror the residents. So the county commissioners is a level of government whose decisions impact residents the highest, right? So you as a candidate now, how would you ensure, like the commissioners, hire the administrators and they have the overall oversight for accountability? Sure. How would you ensure and implement and foster a culture where all these guys in charge are able to be mindful of the diversity within our community and have a hiring practices in place that ensures the workforce mirrors the residents?
Well, first of all, I need to understand, of the 1,000 county employees, how many of them are Northern Europeans, how many of them are Hispanic, how many of them are Somali Americans. And there should be representation from every aspect of the community. That's real important. Then the next thing would be to make sure that our hiring guidelines are open and available and don't exclude anybody. Let's suggest that we might have a language difference. Yes. That doesn't mean that a person with a language difference can't serve the county in a good job. We just may need to make some accommodations. A personal story, I have a daughter who is deaf. Mm-hmm. And so she obviously struggles with language. And throughout her life, she's now teaching, but throughout her life, those accommodations are what got her to be part of a regular team. And more often than not, the accommodations are relatively minor. You just need to make sure that you provide people with equal access and equal opportunity on a regular basis.
Yeah, in what for a big chunk of the residents are Somalis, I would say, East Africans. What's your personal connection? Have you done any outreach to learn more about their culture? Have you visited shopping malls? Did you have friends, sure, people who you've talked to learn more about the culture, to guide you on your campaign and all of that?
Yes. Well, first of all, I don't think I have a lot of exposure to the Somali community, but 5 or 7 years ago, I invited Abdi Dasani to be part of my board at the Paramount Center for the Arts. We were working on bringing Somali performers, Armanta, Delmar, to bring them to the stage. And I remember working with Ahmed Abdi to walk through the whole theater, and I would explain to people how you buy tickets, what the theater looks like, a little bit of the history, and then Abdi translated for me so that the Somali community would feel more comfortable coming downtown to the Paramount. So that sort of was a starting point, I think, for my knowledge of the Somali community. So I know Abdi Dasani fairly well now, and I know other folks. I supported Huda Ibrahim in her quest for a city council seat. And I've met many more people since I started running for the Stearns County Commissioner position, you, for example, Abdi, and others. And I would think that what I need to continue to do, if elected, and if not elected, is I need to meet more and more people so I get a better understanding of the needs, a better understanding of the cultural differences, and we just get more connected. I was thinking earlier and mentioned to Mohammed that if elected, I would like to meet at least 3 or 4 times a year with representative leadership from the Somali community and perhaps the Hispanic community and others, and connect seriously with those communities alone, so that we can see the differences in needs, the differences in resources, the differences in opportunities, and then bring that information back to the commission and say, what are we going to do about this? You know, we have some inequities. How do we solve these problems? And so I'm excited about the prospect of tightening up the whole concept of community with a variety of different cultures.
Thank you, Bob. So a large number of our community is under 30. We have a huge population of young people going to high schools, middle schools. We have also addiction problem, chemical and substance use.
Yep.
And in part, you know, for communities who have been here longer, they understand and how to manage that. But for recently new immigrant communities, that's not in their culture. Mm-hmm. And there's a gap between what parents could offer. Young people have more information. And recently we have seen a spike in, death among young people.
Yep.
And there's lack of appropriate programming to support them.
Yes.
So as a county commissioner, what's your policies to ensure that our young people are taken care of? We have public safety for everyone, and we have meaningful programming that addresses addiction, substance use in our communities in general.
Mm-hmm. Well, first let me say that I don't think it matters if you're Somali, East African, Hispanic, Northern European. Everybody wants the same thing. We want our kids to be safe. We want them to get a good education. We want them to have a good house and have them be safe there and be able to live peacefully in the community. So some of the strategies are not any different for the Somali group than they are for the rest of the community. And what's new is that this is sort of a new problem because of the culture shift from Somalia to here. And that means there are more resources probably required. Now, I understand that in the past, the county has allocated some funds. The first thing we have to do is study that issue a little bit, find out more information, and figure out how we can get a stream of funds from a number of different sources that allow us to implement the right programs so that we're successful, so that this comes to a halt.
So finally, there are voters who are undecided. They are like, should I vote for this way? Should I vote this way? So what's your final message to clarify that your policies, your platform, and your vision for the county in general, Stearns County, and in particular the interests of Ward 4 residents, align with them voting for you?
Well, I have a history in public service, my life on the city council, Human Resources Committee, helped build the library. I was on the library building committee. Housing and Redevelopment Authority, I was on that committee. I think there's that history you can look at, but I also have to say that my personal value is to have the same respect and concern and compassion for every person. And the reason I'm being emphatic about that because it's true. And I see a need to learn more and to make sure that every program out of the county is available, accessible, and equitable for everyone in the county, regardless of which culture they come from. I have a lot of hope for the future, and I have a deep faith that we can be one community, and we can use the beauty and the resources that come from the Somali community, the Hispanic community, the Pakistani Indian community, the Northern European, those of us who have been here for a long time. Everybody can work together and basically meet those needs that we've already talked about, specifically that are different in groups now.
Bob, as a candidate, I think you are familiar with what's happening in the county. There are a couple of challenges that are facing residents of Stearns County in general. Would you expound more on that and add a little bit of what your policies would be towards that?
Sure. I'm going to say that generally, affordability is an issue, medical care is an issue, safety and security is an issue, and they're all interconnected. And the specifics of some of those things are things like loss of SNAP benefits. 12 to 15,000 people will lose their SNAP benefits between now and 27. And the county is responsible for administering that, but it's the feds and state government where that money comes from. And so we need to be prepared so that people aren't buying food and now not able to pay their rent. We need to be prepared so that they're paying their rent, but now they can't seek medical care. Or if they're not eating enough, then you have some medical issues there. This affordability thing is impacting everyone. And in the Somali community particularly, I don't know the numbers. Yes. I'll admit I don't know the numbers. But if anyone's getting SNAP benefits or WIC or Medicaid, there's going to be a lot of work to do. And the county has some very, very good employees who are committed to doing the work. We just have to find different ways to do it. We may need to help food shelves, support food shelves. We may need to, because Medicaid now is going to require a twice-a-year enrollment instead of once, 15,000 additional applications required. That's a lot of paperwork. We may need to get people to get out into the community and help them do that paperwork. And again, I'm not sure of all the answers, but I know that the challenges are there, and we want to be prepared to think about strategies to support people in the coming years.
WIC is one of the programs that has been suspended, and there are a lot of young mothers, who are relying on this for their fresh vegetables and other protein requirements for the kids. And this is a challenge. I know it may be beyond the scope of a county commissioner, but knowing your perspective on issues like this would be great to the viewer. So, what is your response to that?
Well, I think it's the job of the county commissioner to lobby at the state level and to some degree at the federal level. County commissioners have access to our state senators and representatives and to our 2 senators in Washington and our 8 or so representatives in Washington. So I think we need to make sure that they understand what the need is and that they get on it and begin to help us solve the problem. In the meantime, locally, we have to let people know. We have to promote these challenges, if you will. Let people know what they are and seek help from other nonprofits. Seek help from the food shelves. Maybe we need to set up free clinics to do blood pressure and diabetes checks during this period when people don't have Medicaid. Those are just a few thoughts, but I think we have to work as a community.
Thank you so much, Bob, for your time.
Thank you.
We're excited to see you on election day.
Yeah.
see how this turns out for you.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Dear viewers, thank you for watching. That wraps up our interview with candidate Bob Johnson. This was to unpack the issues around you voting for which candidate, and I hope you're able to learn more about our guest today. Until we see you next time, thank you for now.